The day I walked into my uncle's office wearing a designer suit, he went pale. 3 years earlier, he'd told every business owner in 3 counties that I was unstable and couldn't be trusted. He thought he'd buried me. He had no idea that my late aunt had left me something worth $3.2 million. Or that I'd just become his boss. Before I tell you how my own family tried to erase my entire future, and how a woman I barely knew became my guardian angel from beyond the grave, do me a favor. If stories about standing up to toxic family members resonate with you, hit that like button. And subscribe if you want to hear more stories about people who refuse to stay broken. Drop a comment telling me what country you're watching from. I read every single one. My name is Natalie. I'm 28 years old now. But this story starts when I was 24, fresh out of college with a finance degree, and absolutely no idea that my Uncle Raymond had been systematically destroying my life for reasons I wouldn't understand until much later. The Whitmore family looked untouchable from the outside. My Uncle Raymond owned Whitmore Property Development, the largest real estate firm in our region. 3 office locations, 47 employees, annual revenue in the 8 figures. His wife, my Aunt Veronica, came from old money, the kind of family that had a wing of the local hospital named after them. My cousin Trevor, their only son, was 29 and already vice president of the company. MBA from Cornell. Engaged to a state senator's daughter. Perfect teeth, perfect resume, perfect life handed to him on a silver platter. And then there was me. My parents died in a car accident when I was 4. I don't remember them well. Just fragments. My mother's laugh. My father's cologne. The way they used to dance in the kitchen on Sunday mornings. After they died, I went to live with my mother's sister, Aunt Caroline. Not Aunt Veronica. Caroline was the black sheep of the family, the one who'd married a middle school teacher instead of a businessman, who lived in a modest ranch house instead of a mansion, who drove a Honda Civic with 140,000 miles on it. Uncle Raymond made it very clear, even when I was young, that this arrangement was temporary, unfortunate, a burden that Caroline had nobly shouldered. "Your Aunt Caroline is doing her best," he'd say at family dinners, his tone dripping with condescension. "It's not easy raising someone else's child on a teacher's salary." Caroline would smile tightly and change the subject. I grew up in that modest house, sharing a bedroom with my cousin Lily until I was 12. Caroline worked as a librarian. Her husband, Uncle James, taught 7th grade English. They didn't have much money, but they had something my uncle's mansion never did. Warmth. Still, I always felt like I was on the outside looking in. At family gatherings, Trevor got the attention, the praise, the investment in his future. I got polite questions about school and comments about how much I'd grown. When I told Uncle Raymond I wanted to study finance, he actually laughed. "Finance?" He set down his wine glass. "Natalie, that's a very ambitious choice. Are you sure you wouldn't prefer something more suitable? Teaching, maybe. Like your Uncle James." I was 17. I didn't understand yet that he was trying to limit me. "I'm good with numbers," I said quietly. "My grades are." "Grades aren't everything, sweetheart." He smiled the smile adults use when they think children are being cute. "The finance world is cutthroat. Very competitive. I'm just not sure it's the right fit for someone with your background." My background. Code 4 orphan. Code 4 raised by the poor relatives. Code 4 not really one of us. Aunt Caroline intervened. "Raymond, Natalie has a 4.0 GPA. She's received scholarship offers from 3 universities." Of course. He waved a hand. "I'm just being realistic. But if she wants to try, Who am I to discourage her? I didn't know it then, but that conversation was the first warning sign. Uncle Raymond didn't want me to succeed. And what I'd discover years later, he had a very specific reason why. I went to State University on a partial scholarship. Aunt Caroline and Uncle James covered what they could, which wasn't much. I worked 20 hours a week at the campus bookstore and took out loans for the rest. Meanwhile, Trevor went to Cornell with a full ride, funded by the family trust. Different circumstances, Uncle Raymond explained when I asked about it at Thanksgiving my freshman year. Trevor's father, that's me, has made certain provisions. Your situation is more complicated. Complicated. That word again. Aunt Caroline looked like she wanted to say something, but Uncle James put a hand on her arm. I noticed that exchange but didn't understand it. I threw myself into my studies. Finance became my obsession. I aced every class, joined the investment club, earned spots in competitive internship programs. By junior year, I had a 3.94 GPA and job offers from 2 regional banks. I called Aunt Caroline with the news, crying happy tears in my dorm room. 2 offers, Aunt C. 1 in Baltimore, 1 in Richmond. Real analyst positions with real salaries. Natalie, that's incredible. Her voice was thick with emotion. Your parents would be so proud. I'm so proud. I want to tell Uncle Raymond. Maybe now he'll see. She was quiet for a moment. Honey, you don't need his approval. You've done this yourself. But I wanted it anyway. Some part of me still craved validation from the successful, powerful uncle who'd always made me feel small. I called him that night. Uncle Raymond. It's Natalie. I wanted to share some good news. Natalie. How's school treating you? Really well, actually. I received 2 job offers. 1 from job offers. Already. You haven't even graduated yet. They're contingent on graduation, but yes. Both are analyst positions at. Well. His tone shifted, became cooler. That's very ambitious of you. You know, sweetheart, the banking industry is facing some real volatility right now. Are you sure you want to jump into something so unstable? My excitement deflated. The positions seem solid. Both companies have strong. I'm just saying maybe you should consider your options carefully. Trevor started at the family business right out of school. Stable. Secure. If you wanted, I could probably find something for you here. Administrative work. Filing, maybe reception. Reception. I had 2 analyst offers, and he was suggesting I answer phones. That's very kind, but I think I'll pursue the analyst positions. Suit yourself. His voice was clipped now. Just don't come crying to me when it doesn't work out. He hung up. I sat on my dorm bed, staring at the phone, feeling that familiar smallness creep back in. What I didn't know was that Uncle Raymond had already started making calls. And by the time I graduated 3 months later, both of those job offers would mysteriously disappear. Graduation day was May 15th. I walked across the stage magna cum laude, shook the dean's hand, and searched the crowd for familiar faces. Aunt Caroline, Uncle James, and Lily were in the 4th row, screaming and waving. Caroline was crying. James had made a sign that said, "That's our girl." Uncle Raymond's family didn't come. Too busy, Veronica had texted. "Trevor's closing a big deal. You understand." I understood perfectly. 2 weeks later, the first offer fell through. "Miss Whitmore, I'm so sorry." The HR director at Chesapeake Financial sounded genuinely apologetic. "We've had some unexpected budget cuts. The position has been eliminated." My stomach dropped. Eliminated. But you told me. I know. I'm so sorry. We were excited to have you. This came from upper management. There's nothing I can do. I still had the Richmond offer. I told myself it was fine. One door closes, another opens. 3 days later, Richmond called. Miss Whitmore, we need to discuss something sensitive. The hiring manager sounded uncomfortable. We received some concerning information during your background check. Concerning information. About what? Regarding your academic integrity. We were told there were incidents of plagiarism in your coursework that weren't reflected in your official transcripts. My blood ran cold. That's not true. I've never plagiarized anything in my life. Who told you that? I can't disclose the source, but it came from someone who claimed to have personal knowledge of your time at university. Someone in your family, actually. The floor seemed to tilt. My family told you I plagiarized. Look, I don't know what's going on here, but we can't move forward with an offer under these circumstances. I'm sorry. She hung up. I sat in Aunt Caroline's kitchen, shaking while she made tea with trembling hands. He wouldn't, she whispered. Raymond wouldn't do something like that. He's family. Who else would know where I applied? Who else would have reason to sabotage me? Uncle James came in from the living room. His face dark with anger. I'm calling him right now. James, don't. But he was already dialing. I heard Uncle Raymond's voice through the speakerphone, jovial and unconcerned. James, what can I do for you? You can explain why Natalie's job offers both fell through within a week. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't lie to me, Raymond. Did you call those companies? I may have fielded some inquiries. As her uncle, I thought it was my responsibility to provide references when asked. References? You told them she was a plagiarist. I told them what I believed to be true. Natalie always did struggle with the concept of intellectual property. Remember that science fair project in 8th grade? The one where she was 13 and cited her sources incorrectly. That's not the same as. I'm simply looking out for these companies. They deserve to know who they're hiring. If Natalie has a problem with that, perhaps she should reflect on her own behavior rather than. Uncle James hung up. His hands were shaking with rage. He's lying, I whispered. He's actively destroying my future, and he's lying about why. Caroline was crying now. I should have. Years ago I should have. Should have what? She looked at me with an expression I couldn't read. Nothing. It doesn't matter now. But it did matter. Because what Aunt Caroline almost said that day was the key to everything. And I wouldn't find out what she meant until I found the letter. Over the next 8 months, I applied to 47 jobs. Every single one ended the same way. Great interview. Promising feedback. Then silence. Then rejection. I started asking directly. Did someone contact you about me? Most HR people wouldn't answer. But one woman at a small accounting firm took pity on me. Off the record. She lowered her voice. Someone called and said you had emotional instability issues. That you'd had a breakdown at your previous internship. That hiring you would be a liability. I never had a breakdown. I've never been fired or let go from any position. I believe you. But we can't take the risk. I'm sorry. I hung up and screamed into a pillow until my throat was raw. That's when the anxiety attacks started. Real ones. The kind where you can't breathe and your chest feels like it's caving in and you're convinced you're dying. Aunt Caroline found me on the bathroom floor one night, hyperventilating. We're going to the ER, she said. No, No hospitals. I can't afford. Natalie, I don't care. Come on. At the hospital they gave me Ativan and talked to me about stress management. The ER doctor was kind. Has something traumatic happened recently? My uncle is destroying my life and I don't know how to stop him. He looked at me for a long moment. That sounds incredibly difficult. Have you considered talking to a therapist? I laughed, a bitter sound. With what money? The bills from that ER visit came to $1,847. I had $300 in my bank account. Aunt Caroline tried to pay it. I refused. He tried anyway. I found out when I saw the credit card statement on her kitchen counter. You can't afford this, I told her, feeling shame burn through me. Neither can you, honey. I'll pay you back. I swear when I get a job. Natalie. She took my hands. I don't care about the money. I care about you. I started working at a call center. Customer service for a cable company. $13 an hour. No benefits. People screamed at me all day about their internet speeds and billing errors. My degree in finance. My 3.94 GPA. Sat in a frame in my bedroom mocking me. At family gatherings, the ones I still forced myself to attend, Uncle Raymond would ask with false concern, "Still at the call center, Natalie? When are you going to find a real job?" Trevor would snicker into his wine glass. Veronica would change the subject, uncomfortable. And Aunt Caroline would grip my hand under the table, silently furious but powerless. I thought about giving up. About moving to another state, changing my name, starting over where Raymond Whitmore's influence couldn't reach. But then Aunt Caroline got sick. And everything changed in ways I never could have imagined. Aunt Caroline was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer in February. The doctor gave her 6 months. She lived for 4. Those 4 months were the hardest and most precious of my life. I quit the call center to take care of her full-time. Uncle James taught during the day, and I sat with her, reading books aloud, watching old movies, helping her to the bathroom when she was too weak to walk alone. We didn't talk about Uncle Raymond much. She was too tired for anger. But one afternoon, about 2 weeks before she died, she grabbed my hand with surprising strength. "Natalie, I need to tell you something. Aunt C, you should rest. Listen to me." Her eyes were fierce. "Your parents, when they died, they left you something. Money. A trust fund." Froze. "What?" "Your father was a patent attorney. Very successful. Your mother came from money too. When they died, everything went into a trust for you, managed by Raymond as the executor, until you turned 25. My 25th birthday was in 7 months. How much? I don't know exactly, but it was substantial. Over $1 million, probably more with investments." The room spun. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" Raymond said. "He said he'd handle it, that you'd get access when the time came. But Natalie," she started coughing, a wet, horrible sound. "I held her until it passed." "But what?" "I don't trust him. I never have. After your parents died. He fought so hard to be named executor. Your mother wanted me to have you, but the money. He insisted he should manage it. Said I wasn't financially sophisticated enough." She pulled an envelope from under her pillow. "This is from your mother. She gave it to me 2 weeks before she died. Made me promise to give it to you when you turn 25. She had a feeling. I think she knew something might happen. Not the accident, but she was worried about Raymond. She never said why." My hand shook as I took the envelope. My mother's handwriting on the front. "For Natalie. To be opened on her 25th birthday. She made me promise. Caroline whispered. And I'm keeping that promise. But I won't be here when you turn 25. So I'm giving it to you now. Read it. And then fight like hell for what's yours. She died 12 days later, with her family around her, at 3:47 in the morning. I didn't open the letter until after the funeral. And when I did, I learned that my mother had known exactly who Raymond Whitmore was. And she tried to protect me from him. The letter was dated 3 weeks before my parents died. My dearest Natalie, if you're reading this, it means your father and I are gone, and you're approaching 25 years old. I hope you've had a beautiful childhood. I hope Caroline and James took good care of you. I hope you've grown into the strong, brilliant woman I know you'll become. But I need to tell you something about your Uncle Raymond. Your father and I have been trying for months to remove him as executor of your trust. Raymond is your father's brother, and we tried to trust him, but I've watched him too closely. I've seen how he operates, how he manipulates, how he sees people as assets to control. We have $1.4 million in liquid assets, another $800,000 in investments and property. All of it is designated for you. Raymond is supposed to manage it until you're 25, then transfer everything to you. I don't believe he will. I believe he'll find ways to delay it, diminish it, or deny you access entirely. I've seen him do it to others. He has a pattern. So I've done something he doesn't know about. I set up a separate account with Garrison Trust and Investments, a firm Raymond has no connection to. In that account is $450,000. I put it in Caroline's name with instructions that it transfers to you automatically on your 25th birthday. No executor. No intermediary. Just you. The account number is 847-29. HB 4771. The contact is a woman named Margaret Garrison. She's expecting you. If I'm wrong about Raymond, you'll have both the trust fund he manages and this additional money. If I'm right, at least you'll have something he can't touch. Fight for what's yours, sweetheart. Don't let him make you small. All my love forever, Mom. I read it 3 times before my brain could process what it meant. My parents had set aside nearly $500,000 that Raymond didn't know about. Money that was supposed to transfer to me automatically when I turned 25. My birthday was in 4 months. I called Garrison Trust the next morning, my heart hammering. Garrison Trust, how may I direct your call? I need to speak with Margaret Garrison. My name is Natalie Whitmore. My mother was Elizabeth Whitmore. One moment, please. Hold music. 90 seconds that felt like hours. Then a warm, older woman's voice. Natalie, I've been waiting for you to call for 21 years. I started crying. Your mother was one of the wisest women I ever knew, Margaret said gently. She set up this account specifically to protect you. And yes, it's still here. All of it. Would you like to come to our office? Yes, please. How about tomorrow at 10? The next day, I sat in Margaret Garrison's office while she pulled up records on her computer. Your mother deposited $450,000 in 2002. We've invested it conservatively, as she requested. As of this morning, the account is worth $687,430. My hands were shaking. How? How do I access it? On your 25th birthday, which is... She checked her screen. June 12th. On that date, the account automatically transfers to your name. You'll have full access. Does anyone else know about this? No. Your mother was very specific. Only you, me, and Caroline were supposed to know. My Uncle Raymond. He's the executor of my parents' trust. The bigger one. Has he ever contacted you? Never. And he won't find this account unless you tell him. It's completely separate from your parents' estate. I walked out of that office knowing two things. Raymond had been destroying my career to keep me dependent on him, and in 4 months I'd have the resources to fight back. But what I didn't know yet was that the trust fund Raymond controlled, the $1.4 million, had disappeared. And when I confronted him about it, I'd learn exactly how far he was willing to go. My 25th birthday was June 12th. I didn't tell anyone. Not Uncle James, not Lily, certainly not Raymond. At 12:01 a.m. I checked my bank account. The transfer had gone through. $687,430. I sat in my bedroom, the same bedroom I'd shared with Lily as a kid, and cried until I couldn't breathe. Then I called a lawyer. His name was David Chen, estate attorney, recommended by Margaret Garrison. I met him 3 days after my birthday. So let me make sure I understand, he said, reviewing my documents. Your parents left you approximately $2.2 million total. Your mother secretly protected $450,000 through a separate trust. That leaves about $1.75 million that should be under your uncle's management as executor. Should be. Have you asked him about it? Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first. David leaned back in his chair. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to send a formal letter to your uncle requesting a full accounting of the trust. He's legally required to provide it. Let's see what he says. The letter went out on June 20th. Raymond called me directly 2 days later. I was at the grocery store when my phone rang. Natalie. His voice was ice. What the hell is this? It's a legal request for information about my trust fund. Your trust fund. Where did you get the idea that you have a trust fund? My blood went cold. My parents left me money. You're the executor. I'm 25 now. I have a legal right to. You have a right to whatever I decide to give you. His voice was shaking with rage. Do you have any idea how much money I've spent supporting you over the years? Caroline couldn't afford you. James certainly couldn't. Paid for your braces, your school supplies, your college application fees. You paid for college application fees? Someone had to. Your aunt and uncle were broke. They weren't broke, they just weren't wealthy like you. And whose fault is that? Your mother married beneath her. Caroline made the same mistake. I've spent 20 years cleaning up their poor decisions, and this is the thanks I get. A lawyer's letter. I was in the parking lot now, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles were white. Where's my parents' money, Uncle Raymond? Silence. There was $1.4 million in liquid assets plus investments. Where is it? It's gone. The words hit like a physical blow. Gone where? Managing a trust for 2 decades isn't free, Natalie. There were fees, expenses, your education, your upkeep. By the time I deducted everything I was owed. You can't do that. There are legal limits to executor fees. I can do whatever the court approves. And the court approved my accounting years ago. I want to see the documentation. Fine. I'll send you 20 years of financial records. I'm sure a call center employee will have no trouble understanding them. He hung up. I stood in the parking lot shaking while shoppers pushed carts past me. He'd stolen it. All of it. The records arrived 2 weeks later. 4 boxes of documents. David Chen and I went through them line by line. This is... David shook his head. This is one of the most blatant cases of executor fraud I've ever seen. He pointed to highlighted sections. Look. He's charging you $4,000 a month for trust management and oversight. That's $48,000 a year. For 20 years. That's nearly $1 million right there. Can he do that? No. The legal limit for executor compensation in this state is 3% of the trust value annually, and that's only if he's actively managing investments. He's charged you more than 30% over the life of the trust. He flipped pages. Here. He's billing you for Trevor's college tuition. $180,000 to Cornell. What? Why would my trust pay for Trevor's education? It wouldn't. This is fraud, Natalie. He's been systematically draining your trust for 20 years to fund his own family's lifestyle. The numbers swam in front of my eyes. How much is left? David did the math. After all his deductions. About $140,000 out of $1.75 million. He stole $1.6 million from me. Yes. Can we get it back? David was quiet for a moment. We can file suit. It's a strong case. But litigation is expensive and it could take years. And in the meantime. He hesitated. In the meantime what? Raymond knows you have resources now. The lawyer's letter told him that much. He's going to come after you hard. Let him try. I thought I was ready for Raymond's retaliation. I thought I'd seen the worst of what he could do. I was wrong. The lawsuit was filed in August. Whitmore versus Whitmore. Estate fraud. It made the local news. Prominent developer accused of embezzling from orphan niece's trust fund. The next day, I got a letter from Whitmore Property Development's legal team. It was a cease and desist, claiming I was defaming Raymond and demanding I publicly retract my accusations. Called David. They're trying to scare you, he said. Ignore it. 2 days later, I got another letter. This one from Trevor's fiancé's father, the state senator. Apparently, I was now under investigation for tax fraud related to unreported income. The IRS had received an anonymous tip. It's Raymond, David said flatly. He's weaponizing every connection he has. Can he do that? He can try. The IRS will investigate, find nothing and close the case. But it'll take months, and it'll cost you money to defend yourself. That week, my landlord suddenly decided not to renew my lease. When I asked why, he was uncomfortable. Look, Miss Whitmore, I don't want any trouble. I heard about the lawsuit and I think it's better if you find somewhere else. Did my uncle call you? I can't comment on that. I was being systematically squeezed. Legally, financially, socially. But then something unexpected happened. One of Raymond's former employees reached out to me. Her name was Patricia Lynn. She'd worked as his executive assistant for 9 years before quitting last year. We met at a coffee shop. She was nervous, kept looking over her shoulder. I shouldn't be here, she said. But I can't watch him destroy you the way he destroyed others. Others? You're not the first, Natalie. Before you, there was a business partner Raymond forced out of the company. Before that, a woman who tried to sue him for workplace harassment. He has a pattern. He finds people's vulnerabilities and exploits them until they give up. Why did you stay so long? Fear. He pays well. And he has dirt on everyone who works for him. Photos, emails, things taken out of context. He uses it to keep people loyal. She slid an envelope across the table. What is this? Copies of his real financial records. The ones he doesn't show the court. I made them before I left, in case I ever needed leverage. I opened the envelope. Inside were bank statements, wire transfers, expense reports. He didn't just steal from your trust, Patricia said quietly. He's been moving money into offshore accounts for years. Your trust fund was just one source. There are others. This was bigger than I thought. I gave everything to David Chen. He brought in a forensic accountant. 3 weeks later, David called me into his office. We need to talk about next steps, he said. This evidence is solid. Raymond has committed multiple counts of fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement. We can take this to the DA. Will they prosecute? With this evidence? Absolutely. How long would he go to prison? 5 to 10 years probably. Maybe more. I thought about it for a long time. Raymond had destroyed 3 years of my life. He'd stolen my inheritance. He'd sabotaged my career out of pure cruelty and greed. But he was still my uncle. And exposing all of this would destroy Trevor, Veronica, the whole family. I want my money back, I said finally. All of it plus interest. And I want him to publicly admit what he did. But I don't want him in prison. David looked at me like I was crazy. Natalie, he doesn't deserve mercy. Maybe not. But I don't want to become the kind of person who destroys people, even when they deserve it. I want justice, not revenge. We structured a settlement offer. Raymond would repay the full $1.6 million plus 20 years of compound interest. He would resign as executor immediately. He would provide a written apology admitting to mismanagement of the trust. And he would never contact me again. In exchange, I wouldn't file criminal charges. David sent the offer. Raymond rejected it. He says he'd rather go to trial, David told me. He thinks we're bluffing about the criminal charges. We're not bluffing. I know. So what do you want to do? I thought about my mother's letter. Fight for what's yours, sweetheart. Don't let him make you small. File the criminal complaint, I said. Let the DA decide. The DA decided to prosecute. The trial date was set for March. In January, 2 months before trial, Raymond's lawyers requested a meeting. We met in a conference room downtown. Raymond sat across from me, looking 10 years older than the last time I'd seen him. Veronica was next to him, her face drawn and tired. His lawyer spoke first. My client would like to accept your settlement terms. I looked at Raymond. He wouldn't meet my eyes. All of them. Yes, all of them. Including the written apology. Raymond's jaw clenched, but he nodded. The money was transferred within a week. $2.1 million total, including interest. The written apology came 3 days later. I, Raymond Whitmore, acknowledge that I mismanaged the estate of Elizabeth and Thomas Whitmore. I took funds that belonged to their daughter, Natalie Whitmore, for personal use. This was wrong. I apologize for the harm I caused. It wasn't eloquent, but it was true. And that was enough. I used part of the money to go back to school. Got my master's degree in finance from Georgetown. Graduated top of my class. Got recruited by a major investment firm in Boston. Been there for 2 years now. I manage a portfolio worth $340 million. Bought a condo. Paid cash. No one can take it from me. I started a scholarship fund in my parents' names for students who've lost their parents. Gives out $50,000 a year. And I sent a check to Uncle James and Lily. Enough to pay off their house and set up college funds for Lily's kids. They tried to refuse. I insisted. Aunt Caroline took care of me when no one else would, I told James. This is me taking care of her family. He cried. We both did. I haven't spoken to Raymond since the settlement. I heard his company downsized after the scandal broke. Trevor left to start his own firm. Veronica stayed. Sometimes I wonder if I should have pushed for criminal charges. if mercy was the same as weakness. But then I remember something Aunt Caroline told me before she died. You can be strong without being cruel, Natalie. That's the difference between you and people like Raymond. Think she was right. If you're watching this and you're in a similar situation, if someone in your family is trying to control you through money or fear or manipulation, I want you to know something. They're betting that you'll give up. They're counting on you being too tired, too broke, too scared to fight back. Don't let them win. Document everything. Save emails. Record conversations if your state allows it. Build your case quietly. Find people who believe in you. They're out there. And remember that you don't owe loyalty to people who abuse it. My mother knew who Raymond was 23 years ago. She tried to protect me. And even though she couldn't be here to see me fight back, her love was. That's what family is supposed to be. Not control. Not ownership. Love that protects you even when it's gone. I carry my mother's letter in my wallet. The paper's worn now, soft from handling. Some days I still can't believe I won. But I did. And you can too. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button for more stories about people who refuse to stay broken. And leave a comment. I want to know. Have you ever had to set boundaries with toxic family? How did it go? Take care of yourself. You deserve more than they told you.